me and ruin my collegiate life.
How about this? Instead of saying ruin, first of all, babies are a blessing. Stop talking at them as if they're some sort of annoyance.
I will have to drop out of college.
Number two, if you play certain games, you win certain prizes. If you're gonna go have sex,
so you're saying I should drop out of college to support my child and supporting my life?
I'm saying if you're going to engage in coitus, in the practice of having children, you might end up with a baby. So know that. And guess what? You don't need to have sex before you get married.
I'm going to use 2 different books today explaining why the phrase "a baby is a blessing" is one of the worst things you can say to somebody who does not want to keep their pregnancy. Book number 1 is going to be The Baby Matrix by Laura Carroll. And book number 2 is going to be Freakanomics by Stephen Levitt. Having children before one is ready frequently leads to unfit parenting. And the evidence of unfit parenting can be seen every day in the news. Parental abuse statistics are disturbing. Every 13 seconds, a child is abused or neglected. And 77% of child abuse cases come from one's own parent. According to the American Anthropology Association, 3 to 5 children every day lose their lives by their own parents. And homicide is the leading cause of death for children under 4 years old. Nearly 5 infants under the age of 1 year old are killed in the US every week. And abused children grow up to cause harm to society. Abuse during childhood increases juvenile arrest by 53% and arrest as an adult by 38%. All of society has to pay for the consequences of unfit parenting. In 2007, the direct cost of abuse cost the United States $103.8 billion, billion with a B. And these costs include child's immediate needs such as hospitalization, chronic illnesses, mental health issues they develop, and law enforcement that needs to get involved. And that does not even factor future behaviors associated with childhood abuse. In the book Freakonomics, the title of chapter 4 is "Where Have All the Criminals Gone?" In 1966, Roman dictator Nikolai not only made abortion illegal, but he also made it to where sex education was to only focus on the joys of motherhood. Before this, abortion was the main form of birth control for Romania, with 4 abortions for every 1 live birth. His intention was to strengthen Romania by boosting its populations. There was even something called the menstrual police. Regularly rounded up women in their workplace and administered pregnancy tests. And if women repetitively failed to conceive, they had to pay a celibacy tax. Well, he got his wish because by the next year, the birth rate doubled. But those children had miserable lives compared to the children born just 1 year before that boom. Their lives were worse in every way, from test scores in school to even less success in the labor market when they became adults. Many of these women who were born through forced birth just grew up to become criminals. However, while that was going on, the opposite was happening in the United States. In America, the crime rate drastically fell by the 1990s. The suddenness was such a surprise. Experts spent years trying to figure out the cause of the unusually lowering crime. Everyone's question was, where did all the criminals go? Was it that maybe the economy was better? Was it the job market? Like, why wasn't violent crime all over the news the way it used to be? But eventually, instead of asking, why did crime fall? They started saying, you know, what caused it to be so high in the first place? And the answer to that is when women were denied abortions, the babies that they were forced to birth were usually resented. And since they resented their babies, they did not provide them with love or even the proper care that they required. Begrudged babies have a very high chance of growing up to become unlawful adults. It was January 2nd, 1973, Roe v. Wade was ruled, extending safe, legal abortions to the entire country. The first year after the Roe v. Wade ruling, 750,000 women had access to safe abortion, which is about 1 abortion to every 4 live births. And by 1980, abortions reached at about 1.6 million. Before Roe v. Wade, Really, only daughters of middle and upper class families were able to receive safe abortion access. But the ruling allowed for women in poverty to get affordable access to safe health care rather than going to the back alley. The typical child who remained unborn during the earliest years of legal abortion would have been 50% more likely than average to be living in poverty, and 60% more likely to be growing up with only one parent. Childhood poverty and single-parent households are among the strongest predictions that the child will grow up to have an illicit future. Legal abortion also dropped the rate of infanticide and shotgun marriages. But the most dramatic effect of legal abortion happened years later, which was its impact on crime. In the early 1990s, the children who would have been born but didn't, because Roe v. Wade, would have been hitting their teen years about then, which is where many begin their life of lawlessness.
So the idea of an unwanted pregnancy is not true.
You know what? It's agreed. Abortion is very, very sad. But just because something is sad doesn't make it wrong. We unfortunately do not live in a world where every baby is wanted, all babies are loved. Legalized abortion leads to less unwantedness. Unwantedness leads to high crime. Therefore, legal abortion led to less crime. The states that had the highest abortion rates in the 1970s experienced the greatest crime drops in the 1990s. Roe v. Wade was the event that tipped the crime scale, and safe, legal abortions was one of the greatest crime-lowering factors in all of American history.